Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the YD podcast. Thank you for joining us. And if you haven't subscribed, please make sure you subscribe, like, share, and engage with us in the comment section. So, we're talking about the Cameroonian presidential elections, and it looks like Paul Biya, the sitting president, has been announced or declared the winner of the 2025 presidential election in Cameroon. And they're saying that it received 53.66% of the vote, while his main opponent, Issa Chiroma Bakary, got about 35% of the vote. And his opponent has come out claiming that he actually won by 60% and is calling for transparency and accused the government of electoral fraud, which makes me think that the Cameroonian really dropped the balls here. The young people, the old people voting for a man that basically didn't know what was going on around him when he was invited to speak at an event. And it's just unfortunate that people ruling behind the scenes by proxy, they've won and they're going to lead the country for the next few years. What do you think?
For me, I think is a shameful. It is embarrassing, and you can find all the adjective to qualify what you think about that election. It's nothing short of fraud, and it's nothing short of France control over that country. France want to, continue pressing the neck of that country, and which they are doing, aiding and abetting fraud. That is what they did in Cameroon. And in fact, prior to them releasing the official result, the main opposition was releasing his result polling unit by polling unit, and he was ahead of Pobia in a landslide. And come to even think of it, I have never heard that any country, except for Cameroon, obviously, spend about 2 weeks to count an election result, and it's a country of about less than 24 million people, and you spend 2 weeks to count the results. So if, let's say, Cameroon is Nigeria of 240 something million people, it means that they will probably spend an entire year. They will probably spend the entire year to count the result. They were obviously looking for a way to, do some addition, subtraction, do some permutation perhaps to ensure that Pobia comes out on top. But in all honesty and in all seriousness, I don't know why a country like that, their population is predominantly, on the average, they have people between the ages of, I think the average age of Cameroonians are like 23, 25 years. Why would a 92 years old be ruling people like that, making decisions, deciding their future for them? I think this is a problem across Africa. He's not the only one. Obviously, Museveni is still there. Robert Mugabe was forced out in 2017. And then the person that replaced him, Emerson Mnangagwa, is still holding on to power. In fact, I think recently I saw in the report that he's going to be a president for life or something along that line, okay? Or he's been given a third term or fourth term. So this is obviously a problem across Africa. I think democracy across Africa is a fraud. I think we should look for a way to find a system that works for Africa. Obviously, democracy doesn't work. People's voice has never mattered. Election, they buy election, and then they manipulate the result. And that is why people like Museveni, they keep winning. People like Pobia, they keep winning election. And in Ivory Coast, in fact, they had an election yesterday in Ivory Coast. The Ivory Coast, basically, the president closed down the National Assembly. There is no National Assembly in Ivory Coast. The president is deciding the future of Ivory Coast without the National Assembly. And this is a common phenomenon across Africa. And the AU, the ECOWAS, all of them, they are not saying anything. But let the military strike and then take over the country, then you will see AU members, AU member countries putting out statement and then trying to ban these countries from their organization. But meanwhile, when these leaders are misbehaving, they don't sit them down and talk to them and make sure that they are respecting the people and respecting the people's decision.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is a shame. The man is already 92 or 93 years old, and another 7 year term will be in power till he's 100 years old. If he makes it that long, it's crazy that it's been there for this long, and the people, quote and unquote, still agree to keep him in there. This is ridiculous. They're telling us there are no better people, no better candidates that they could have voted for in Cameroon. This is nothing short of electoral malpractice, even though we don't have any proof to back our claim, but you can see that this is really being driven by an external influence. But for people in Cameroon to stand up and say we're voting for that 93-year-old man, when presidents go out, when they go on campaign, it's impossible for them to visit all the local governments, but at least they'll try to visit the states, even not if not visiting all the cities. But in this situation, there was literally a balloon, a doll of this man floating in the middle of the street because they didn't have the energy to go talk to the people. And it's sad that the people allowed it to happen. I mean, if we think Nigeria is bad, man, I can't imagine what they're going through in Cameroon. If you're 40 years old in Cameroon, you've never known any other president than Paul Biya. And it's sad. It's sad. I mean, and I know Nigeria is not better, but at least we can still force the system to work, quote unquote. We can still lead us accountable in some ways to still go out there and protest. But here, I mean, people have gone out to try to at least protest this election result. But we all know what's going to happen, right? They're going to use the instrument of the state to fight against them, fight against the people, and there's nothing that will be done about it.
Yeah, I mean, you said it all. In fact, there was maybe Biya was in Cameroon. His flight couldn't make it down to his campaign, but that was why they had a cutout, a cardboard or whatever for his campaign. In fact, they even did the same thing for Museveni. Museveni, basically, they had a cardboard cutout of his image and take it to the campaign ground. This is a common phenomenon across Africa, and the African Union must rise up against this madness that is going on around Africa. In Nigeria, there is something they say never take a medication for someone else's sickness. If the people of Cameroon are not complaining, who are we to be complaining? The one, at the receiving end of this madness. And if they are not raising dust or they are not complaining or they haven't taken to the street to demonstrate against this madness, who are we to be speaking up about this madness? I think the complaint should come from them before we take, the rest of the world takes it up. But if for any reason France is behind this, is absurd. It does mean that we are not truly independent. They're still holding some countries, some of us hostage. Nigeria not excluded because obviously we still pawn that to the UK. So we really need to be independent, truly, in mind, in our action, and in the way we prosecute our elections. Let us know what you think about the development in Cameroon. Paul Biya becoming, winning another election at 92. So by the time he will finish this term, he will probably be 99 years old, and maybe another round that he will go for another round of election if he makes it to that. Let us know what you think, your opinion, what you think Cameroonians should be doing, or do you think Cameroonians are okay with it? They have nobody else that can do the job. And let us know what you think, and we'll be happy to engage with you. Thank you for your support.